Yes, lads, what is going on? And welcome to Season 3, Episode 4 of The Running Irishman. In this episode, real quick, just before we jump into talking about who we have in this episode and you know what this episode is basically all about, I just want to say, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see we got the webcam situation all figured out. Well, not figured out, we got a new webcam basically, and it's going to help obviously the podcast a lot for the people that watch it over on YouTube. It's a much higher quality webcam than the last one, and I really like it. As you can see, it's really good. So yeah, I'm happy about that. Sorry about the past few episodes, especially the Sunday episodes where people that watch it on YouTube were just looking at the logo on the screen. I know that can be a little bit annoying, and it's better. You basically feel like you're kind of interacting more when you actually see the person that's talking to you. So yeah, I just wanted to say we got that all sorted out, and no more webcam situation. Also, with the new mic, the new webcam, the podcast quality has been coming along really well. And that really couldn't be done without a lot of you guys. You know, I'd had a few donations over on Patreon and sponsorship deals and whatnot, so I really appreciate that. In terms of this episode, we are joined by Mark Hanrahan. Mark has represented Ireland 3 times, 2 in the Celtic Games and for cross country, and once in SIAB tracks. Mark has also won 2 national titles in under 16s and 17s over the 3K distance on the track. He also has some seriously fast PBs. Find what they are out in this episode. He's also come second in national schools, in senior national schools for the steeplechase. So we talk a little bit about steeplechase as well from my point of view and his perspective. It's really interesting that on its own. He has loads of national cross country school titles with his team and club, as he runs for Ennis Track Club, who are an insane team, and a lot more. You know, we find out about his early days in both Gaelic, hurling and athletics, so find out more about that. It was a really great episode. It's just over an hour long, and Mark is a really sound lad. I appreciate him taking the time out to come on and give us a chat on the podcast, so it was really interesting. Guys, I hope you all enjoyed this episode of the podcast. I'm going to stop talking and let's get into it. Yes, lads, so we're here with Mark Hanrahan. Thanks very much, Mark, for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. Sorry once again for leaving you waiting a little bit. Just electricity and stuff down here, and Wi-Fi hasn't been great at the moment. I don't know what that's all about, you know, with COVID or everything, or if it's with, you know, a lot of people working from home and doing online school and whatnot. But look, we're here now, and I'm really excited about this episode. You know, you've had, up until this point, you've had a pretty successful career, especially within an Irish standpoint and within your age. So I'm gonna stop talking, kind of let you take it away here and give a quick brief background about yourself and what you're all about.
Yeah. Thanks for the intro. I'm Mark Hanrahan. I just turned 18, and I'm like a middle distance cross country runner from Ennis Track down in Clare. And I suppose I've been running since as soon as my mother could get me into the club, really, since I was about 6.
Yeah.
But I've only probably in the last 3 or 4 years I've probably taken it properly seriously, and had a bit of fun along the way.
That's it. So 6 is, you know, it's quite an early age for running. Obviously, you know, at that age you're not doing high mileage or high intensity training or anything. Yeah. But like when you first joined, did you ever kind of have any real struggles with it or anything, or did you just kind of fall in love with it straight away?
No, like I suppose we're mainly GA family, so my father would have got us all into the local GA club, and then I suppose my mother did a bit of running herself, so she was, as soon as we were old enough, so I suppose we were about 6, I suppose, she put us in just training twice a week with the club up at the track, and it was mainly with the idea of just getting fit for the hurling and football. And I suppose I never hated it, but I never loved it either. Like, I was kind of just kind of doing it because I had to. But
yeah.
I think it kind of grows on you then after a while.
Yeah,
once you start seeing improvements, you know.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a hard sport to pick up on. But I suppose if you're doing it from such a young age, then by the time you're maybe 15, 16, 17, or the age you are now, you kind of, like you said, it just kind of grows on you. So early on, when, you know, you were playing the Gaelic and the hurling, could you see maybe a little bit of you had that maybe a little bit of an edge, maybe speed or fitness wise, over your competition? I know at the age you were at the time when you started, there wasn't much competition, but as you got older within Gaelic, could you know, see the results paying off?
Yeah, like he was. I remember some of them under 10 blitzes where you'd be playing like 3 or 4 matches on like a Sunday morning, and I'd say everyone would be absolutely wrecked by the final game, and I'd still be going up and down the pitch chasing the ball.
Yeah.
And I definitely, as like, as I was under 13, under 14, it was definitely like my big asset to the team was like I can just go for the full 60 minutes and I'd be running the legs off whoever they whoever they try and put on me. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, it was definitely useful in football, more so in football than hurling, because you can run with the ball in your hands a bit more in football. But yeah, no, like that's I won. We won a lot of games, just me just running around and just causing havoc. Like it was good.
Yeah, no, definitely. And are you still in with the guy, or did you give that up and go running full time?
Yeah, like it was. It's been about 3 or 4 years now. I've been just running, but like I kind of knew early on that I can't keep everything up.
Yeah.
Like I was playing hurling football with my club, school, and county, and I was running on top of that, and it was getting tough. Like I never really got injured, but I always got sick, and my immune system was just wrecked. Like, and I always ended up picking up colds and stupid viruses whenever, like, and then I suppose over the years, kind of fizzled out of it. I was kind of getting sick of the hurling, so I just kind of dropped that, and then I started just playing football with my club and the school, and then it was just the club, and then I started running, started getting a bit more taking priority, I suppose, and then I kind of just made a decision then on my own, and made the decision that like I want to run, and I just said we'll go all in now, see what we can do.
Yeah, definitely. And you said there that you were playing with your school club and your county. So what age did you kind of pick up playing for your county? And I'd say that in itself, with the skill and the running and Gaelic with the club, was like, maybe would you say if you didn't get on the county panel as such, you would have been able to keep it up, or was it just definitely that you just wanted to go running full time?
Yeah, like you get involved with the development squads, when you're like under 12, under 13, I suppose, and then same with the school as well. Like when you, especially in Flanagan's, my school, like it's all GA, like, and when you go in first year, if you're not at the hurling trials, you're just you kind of get left out of that kind of social circle, really. So yeah, like you kind of have to be playing GA at that age, and then I suppose it kind of dawned on me then that I wasn't really enjoying hurling as much, and I kind of realized that I was only doing it to keep coaches happy, and particularly in school, you'll see the teachers every day, you'll see the lads every day, and they'll be like, "Oh, like, are you going running now, or yeah?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." So I kind of wanted to avoid that, but then I got to the stage when I was like, "Come on, you're not enjoying this, like, and it's only making you sick, and you're just not enjoying anything." Then, so yeah, I probably dropped that in hurling in third year, but it was harder to drop the football because I was actually good enough for football, so it was kind of a harder decision. But like I kind of found myself always leaning towards running. And then, when you're not making your club team because you're not going training, I think that was kind of the time for me to bow out and just run full time then.
Yeah, definitely. And would you say it was around third year as well when you quit the Gaelic, especially when you kind of start seeing the big improvement in the running, and just because then you were able to focus on that more and really knuckle down on that. So when you actually gave up the Gaelic, did you see quite big improvements in your running?
I wouldn't say it was big improvements, like, because I kind of slowly phased out of playing team sports, but like, definitely in the last year when I was just playing with the club, like my energy levels and my body felt a lot better, and like I kind of, I suppose I met, like, it was only like I made my first international, and I was still playing club and school football, and we were winning a good bit, so like that was kind of a surprise to me. But yeah, no, there wasn't really a big, huge jump in fitness or anything, like, because I think I was kind of slowly getting used to just running. So there wasn't a big moment where I just started running crazy times or anything.
Yeah, I get you. And from some times and caliber of races and all that you've ran in. Obviously, you must, and especially for picking it up at a young age, you must be obviously quite talented as well as dedicated. So when you start taking maybe running a bit more serious, or even early on in your running when training got a little bit more intense, when did you see within running, not talking about Gaelic at all, just within running, like your times significantly improving and the sessions becoming better and better?
Yeah, like I didn't like. I suppose like I've been running. I was running since I was 6. Like, and that's what. Yeah, I didn't win a single race until I was about 12, I'd say, and I just won the counties, and I was like, oh, like you're not bad at this, like. And I suppose at that stage you start thinking, okay, like what more? Where can I go from here? So then the next step is like, oh, I'll win a Munsters, and then I didn't win a Munsters till I was 14 or 15. Then you start. Then you start looking at All Irelands. You're like, oh, geez, when can I win one of them? And it takes another while then. But I'd say it was definitely around second or third year when I started running a bit more, and I kind of longer runs were getting easier, and I could feel myself getting stronger. And I suppose it was around second year, I suppose. Um,
Yeah, definitely. And like I know you were saying there that you were winning counties and then you didn't win a Munster until you were, 14, 15. So after that, when did you kind of, I know within Ireland it's not the biggest stage of running in the world, but within Ireland on its own, when did you kind of see yourself in maybe some All Ireland races or bigger caliber kind of races, kind of, get up the top of the pack and actually start contesting for the wins?
um, I suppose I I would have been. I think I won my first cross country medal when I was in sixth class, but I was like eighth, and I was kind of like I just about got eighth, so like I wouldn't say I was too competitive at that stage. But then I think I was a junior in schools, and I was doing the 1500, and oh yeah, it was in Tullamore, and I was on the start line, and I was looking around, and I see like the full Syobs team who'd made the cross country that year. They were all on start line. You Sean Donoghue, Michael Morgan, who else was there? Sean McGinley. The whole team were there, and I was absolutely breaking it. And my sister was there, and she was calming me down in fairness there. And then I suppose the race just kind of took off then, and yeah, like oh yeah, like Sean absolutely dominated, like he absolutely destroyed us. But I was in third anyways with 200 meters to go, and Shawnee Dalton was like 20 meters ahead of me, and I was like, I can, I can catch this fella now. And I probably haven't ran a quicker 200 in my entire life up to that point. And I caught him then with 50 meters to go, and I finished second. And I suppose that was like the very first time where I was actually competitive at the front of an All Ireland race.
Yeah.
And it was a good feeling, and yeah, no, like I think you're always kind of chasing that feeling. Then from that point on, if that makes sense, like
Yeah, no, I get you. It's kind of it's even just like finishing a race is quite an addictive feeling, but then competing for medals and competing for first place, I'd say is even better in itself.
yeah, you're always looking to go one better.
Yeah,
Like
definitely,
second one day, you're going to want to win the other day, and then
definitely.
just kind of builds from there.
But would you say obviously Sean is a top athlete, and you said he kind of dominated from the start of the race and just absolutely blitzed everybody. But would you say
Hmm.
maybe if you didn't have the mentality before you went into the race, kind of like the lads on the starting line are absolutely insane, that maybe if you're a little bit more confident, you would have tried to stick with Sean longer and maybe even contested that first place position even more.
Yeah, like I mean, I can't exactly remember how the race played out, but I think it was like a big burn up in the last 500 meters, and like Sean now he can he can move when he wants to. So yeah, like maybe if I had the confidence to take it on more from earlier and push it on and make it more kind of a strength thing, who knows? Like, but um, I don't regret I don't regret it now.
Yeah, definitely. And some people even say like, especially from kind of earlier on in your career, if you're constantly winning and winning, you never have someone to be chasing. It kind of comes back to bite you then later on in your career. So maybe it's the same with Sean. When I was talking to him, he said he had different experiences like that. So it's always good to have that one spot or two spots or whatever spot you're chasing to motivate you.
Yeah, exactly. Hmm.
And then I suppose you kind of started picking up the pace quite quickly. Grabbing yourself 3 Irish vests, 2 Celtics, and 1 Siab track. So, between those three, do you kind of just want to take it away and just tell us a bit about, like, from the first one then to the last one, how they all kind of came about?
Yeah, like it was, I suppose that kind of period of about 2 years, I suppose, like it was like he was a lot of positives, obviously, but I had a lot of learning, a big learning curve, really, like, in a lot of poor races. But yeah, I suppose starting with the first one, I was, I would have been 15. Yeah. So yeah, I went into nationals that year, and I had good showings at Munster, and I was kind of something we targeted at the start of the season, that like we'll make this Celtics now. And I was actually a year young. I was under 15, and it's an under 16 competition. So I went up to Abbottstown, and I don't remember how the race actually played out, but I finished 10th anyways, and that was good enough to get me on the team. And sure, that was great. And then not even a week later, like, remember, I was still playing football
Yeah.
around this time, and playing a lot of football, actually. And not even a week later, I got desperately sick. Like, I remember waking up one morning, and it felt like I'd been hit with by a bus. Like, I had no energy, and I was coughing. Oh yeah, no, yeah. I went to the doctor then and got antibiotics, and I I made the textbook error of trying to train through it, and sure,
Yeah.
that's never
No,
going to
no.
work out at all. It's like, so then I went. So the first All Irelands, I was out of age. Then I went to my good age All Irelands about 2 weeks later, and I was still on antibiotics, and I was absolutely wrecked. And it was on a Waterford IT as well, which is the most unforgiving course in the country, I
Yeah.
think. And I finished. Oh, I finished like 30th, and it was just heartbreaking, like, because I was the second. I finished second. I was the second under 15 to finish in the under 16 race, so I knew I'd be competitive towards the front. And like, just seeing some of the lads coming in the finish line, and I was at the top of the hill, like, it was absolutely heartbreaking.
Yeah, it would, yeah.
So I took some time to just heal up and rest up, because the international was going to be at the start of January. And yeah, like, it didn't go great there either. Yeah, it was up in Belfast, and like, I was young, and I like it was like a 7K race, like, something I was completely not used to at all, like. So I was thrown right into the deep end as a 15
Yeah.
year old. Yeah, and I think I was like out of the Celtic competition, I was like second last or something. Like, it was pretty brutal. And yeah, so that was the first one. But yeah, like, it was a good experience, get experience against the British lads coming over, and getting to put on the Irish Fest. Like, obviously, it's unreal. Like,
Definitely.
something you always want to do. Like, get that Irish Fest, like, and put it on the hotel. Like, it's a nice feeling. Then I suppose it was about a year later, I qualified for the same competition. Um, yeah, I went into Abbottstown. Then I was having a rocky enough season, like, but I still managed to come 10th again, I think. Yeah, I was 10th again, and yeah, yeah, like, I was racing poor, and I still managed to qualify for the team, which was a positive, like. And then went up to Belfast again. I had another poor race up there. But yeah, look, like, it was just, as I said, like, that 2 years, like, I had a lot of wins, but I had a lot of losses as well. And so yeah, and then I suppose then the Syabs then were that summer, and yeah, that was a good summer, actually, for me, for the most part. Like, it was, I was listening to Michael's podcast the other day, and it's funny how our stories kind of overlap in some places. Because I early in May, I'd ran an 8:55 3K, which was a PB, and I think it was like the quickest in our age group that summer. And I went into schools kind of pretty confident, like, confident to myself, and I was like, "Ah, I could pick up a medal here." And I knew Mike was a force to be reckoned with, and I on the start line, and I was confident, and I was ready to go. And it was a really windy day, and we come around the first bend, and I get some idea in my head that I'm just gonna go to the front for some reason, and we dawdle around then for about 1500, I think. and then Mike hits the front, and then boom, I'm I'm out the door then. And I think I finished like fifth then, and I was pretty pissed off myself. But I suppose like I was well used to picking myself up again, and we went at it again. And I think like a month later we raced in the Taltons, yeah, and it was up in Morton Stadium, and it was an absolute scorcher. Like it was about 25 degrees, and like I was still, like training was going well, and I had a bit of confidence back. And yes, so then Mike hit the front early, and I think he went out in 64 for the first
Jesus.
400 or something ridiculous like that. Yeah, man, it was in that heat as well. Like I think he was probably trying to get that youth standard, and so he kind of tore off then, and then there was just the group of us chasing him, and I hung in, and I hung in, and I hung in, and I finished third, and I think Callum Morgan was second, and I was happy with third. Like I ran 9 flat, in that heat. Like I was pretty pleased with it. And I think from that point so the thing was top 2 make the Sibes team. So it was Mike and Callum were going to go, and so I was still happy enough, like third, having how I ran the nationals. Like I was pretty pleased. So then my next target was the clubs All Ireland, and so we actually went on a training camp then down to like fucking Banna Beach. You probably never heard of it. Like it's just it's just a few houses beside the beach, like, and people go there to run. So we went there in a training camp anyways, because another girl in the group was going to the Europeans, Joaquin. And we went down anyways, and we got a good bit of training done. And I remember I was like lying on the couch, just resting between runs, and I was just waiting to head off for the session. And I was texting one of the lads, and he was like, "Oh, Mike made European the Youth Olympics." I was like, "No, he didn't. He was like 10 seconds off the standard. There's no way he did." And he was like, "Oh, look at this." And they sent me a screenshot then of the official list. I was like, "Wait a minute." I could be in then for the Sibes. And then sure enough, like about an hour later, I get an email off of Anthony White saying I was picked then for the Sibes, and that was great now, and that gave me a bit of a pep in the step then for the rest of the camp. Then I went on to win the All Irelands, and then I won the All Irelands, and then a week later, we were flying over to Swansea, and I got my confidence back, and I was like, if this is, my speed was in a good place and all that, like, and I was like, if this is a slow race, like I could be with a shout for maybe top 5, top 4. And I remember Callum was showing me the PBs of some of the British lads, and they were running like 8:20, 8:25, like, and I was there my 8:55 thinking I'm great, like. And then sure, we were like in the first lap the boys went out in like 61, 62. Jesus. And me and Callum were off the back, like, and we still went through in like 65 or something like that.
That is insane.
So we got put back in our box that day anyways. But it was a great weekend, like, and it was great to experience how good the British lads are, like, and get a taste for it, and you can just see the standard that you have to meet. And it's definitely a good motivator. Like, these lads are running 30 seconds quicker than you. Like, you need to get your act together. But that was my last international, and hopefully there's many more to come now in the next year or two.
Yeah, hopefully. And then you won the All Irelands, you said there, to then move on to Swansea to run the Sibes. But what distance was that for? Was that for 1,500?
Oh, sorry, it was 3K.
Oh no, I should have known from the times anyway. No, that was my bad. No, but still, like you were saying, you were going over with what, like a NA55 PB over to Swansea, which is still, especially within Ireland, is a really, really fast time. And initially, when you first started getting your Irish vests, it kind of took maybe a bit of a slow start, you could say, but especially I'd say with the first vest, that you're kind of just happy to be there. Kind of be like maybe your first Olympics, that you're maybe not in contestant for any big medals or anything, but you're just kind of happy to be there. And then with your second one, then your third one, it kind of gets a little bit more serious.
Yeah, no, I like how you compare the Celtics there to the Olympics. But look, no, I was really young for the first one. Like, it was a big shock to the system.
Yeah.
But like, that's the thing, like, once you kind of experience it the first time and you get a few of them, like, then you're kind of thinking, well, I got to get competitive now with these races.
Definitely.
Like, so that's why like going over to Swansea was a bit of a kick in the gut, getting absolutely hammered by the two English lads. Like they had an unbelievable race, and I was like, I think I was just outside 9 minutes, which wasn't bad like for that time of season. But geez, like I was still 30 seconds behind the two
Yeah,
boys. Like, so yeah, no, it just gave you a good taster, and I was like, if I want to make Europeans and if I want to be competitive Europeans, like these are the lads I'm gonna have to be up
definitely.
against. And yeah, no, you're spot on there saying that like, it gets more serious as you move along, like, and you get more of them, and you want to be more involved. Like, you don't want to be going through the motions, like, and just being happy to be
Yeah.
there. If that
No,
makes sense.
definitely. And then there could be like, if you're not performing well, there could be some people thinking that they should be there and they'd be able to perform well. So definitely, the deeper you get in, or the longer maybe you're around on an international stage, the more kind of pressure maybe you could. As well, with pressure comes with the experience as well. But I'd say the pressure does maybe start building up the more you really attend these international races. And it's mental, how Michael Morgan then applied for the European Youth Olympics, and that then opened the door for you to head over to
Yeah,
Swansea.
like it was funny. I didn't realize that was the case. Like that he actually
Yeah,
applied. Like until I heard it on the podcast, I was like, oh yeah, like that's just funny. Like how him doing that like had a big impact on my season as well. Like in a good way.
yeah,
Like
definitely.
I was really grateful to get that experience.
Yeah,
Like.
no, no, 100%. And then kind of, did you feel like maybe then you had to back it up the year after, kind of just like in a sense that you weren't there because Michael Morgan, or applied for the European Youth Olympics, so you felt like you need to kind of make your mark and show that you actually can be competing at that level.
Yeah, like there was definitely a bit of that. Like even though no one actually said it to me, I knew like people were going to be
Yeah,
thinking you're only there because like out of like because Michael's can't make it. Like so, it was definitely kind of you're looking to prove a point,
definitely.
like and run quicker times. Like obviously like with COVID and all that, I didn't get a proper season. I didn't get down a proper season. Like that we had European youths last year, which would have been the target if it wasn't for bleeding
Yeah,
COVID, like
no.
so. Sure, look, I'll be back.
Exactly, and it doesn't look too positive so far this year with that, well, especially that there was meant to be a late track season. My coach was telling me maybe in January, February, instead of schools, and then that's obviously out the window completely. And still, track, I'd say, is
Yeah,
still completely up in the air. I doubt schools will have any competitions this year. So
yeah, like yeah. That's kind of annoying because especially with schools, anyways, there's always something special about schools, like and representing your
mm,
school because like the best people are always there. Like, and I've gone what like 6 years now, and I haven't picked up an individual gold, which which just kind of bugs me now. So I was kind of hoping this last
yeah,
year now I'd be in contention for some gold, anyways. But hopefully I can get the opportunity. But
hopefully.
it's not looking good at the moment.
Hopefully, but
You
kind
know.
of, looking back on a time where you were picking up some gold races, or some gold medals, and running some serious times and some serious races back in your under 16, under 17 days, where you picked up two national titles. So kind of, once again, do you want to just kind of talk us through those two experiences, which I say, we were talking there about how you felt like on an international stage you kind of had to prove a point, but especially within Ireland anyway, you've kind of, people know that if they see you on a starting line, as you said, you're kind of a force to be reckoned with. And these two national titles will definitely back them up. So it's always something you can, I know it's kind of bad to say, but kind of lean back on if you're ever, feeling like you don't belong on an international stage. But by the standard of times and the standard of races that you're running, you obviously definitely can. So do you want to just kind of talk us through these two national titles?
Yeah, like so I won my first one. I was under 16. Yeah, under 16 club Trica. I actually can't remember much about that race, but I think yeah, it was in Tullamore and it was absolutely pouring rain, anyways. And I think I would have been like second fastest in the field, maybe. I think like Sean Cotter was there. I think he was quickest. But yeah, like it was kind of early days in racing 3K, so I don't think anyone really knew what they were
Yeah,
doing. Well, we just kind of yeah, we just kind of we moved along nicely for first 2K, and there was a lot of switching and changing at the front, and I think with about 2 laps to go, I think it was me, Callum, and Sean kind of broke away, and I just kind of hung in there, and I hung in there, and I think I tried to make a move with like 600 to go, and then I come up on his shoulder, and then he sped up then and blocked me off. So I was like, okay, I'll wait, I'll wait till the bell, and I'll wait until the bell, and then I waited until the bell. Same thing happens. Then 200 meters to go, I was like, you're setting out your stall now, and you're going to get around him now before the bend. And I think I just took off then, got by him, and no, I won. I brought it home then. I did some stupid celebration where I like pointed at the camera.
Oh yeah, seen that.
um, no. Looking back on it now, it was kind of like, oh, what were you doing? But like, in the moment, you're just kind of
Definitely, definitely.
like, come on. Like, I think it was being live streamed, so I think like my family were watching at home, and I was like, oh, I'll give him a wave now or something. That was the first one, and then the second one then was a year later, same race, just under 17 this time around. So I'd come off of like the poor schools race, but then I'd ran well in Taltons, and then going into the clubs race then, God, yeah, that was a weird day as well actually, because it was roasting hot, and yeah, we arrived early enough in the day, and then I was like just foam rolling and doing some band work or whatever, and I could see that there were sprints before us, and I could tell that they were moving through them quickly enough, like, and I was like, my race is going to be on like 20 minutes if they jump straight to Tricas. So I went for a jog then, and I came back, and under 16s were on the start line. So I was like, oh Jesus. So I just threw on my spikes then, having only just done a bit of a jog, like, and I did a few hard sprints, a few hard strides into the call room, and that was about as much as warm up I got done. But I suppose it was a roasting day, like, so it's not gonna be doing too much, anyways. But we got out on the track then, and I wasn't very well warmed up, so I was kind of feeling a bit dead on the start line. So I was like, you're gonna just sit in now for this first K and see how things unfold, like. And we were dog slow for that first K. I think we were like 3:12. Like, it was weird. Like, we were uncomfortably slow. Like, it felt weird to be running that slow on spikes.
Yeah, true.
And then it was really slow. So like, I think like the 12 of us were like all crammed in together in the one pack, and we were falling over each other, and we were hitting elbows. And there was one fella, he was in a green singlet. I don't know, I can't remember what his name was, but he he kept on getting clipped by the fella behind him, and then he just turned around and he roared at him to F off, like. And then that was like a match to a fire, like, and then it just kind of blew up then, and then I think someone threw in a surge, like, out of anger almost, I'd say. So that was at about 1500, and I think my plan was to like kind of try string it out a bit, but they were kind of doing it for me in a sense, I suppose. So I just sat in, and I tried to make a move at 800 to go, and there was still a few of us there, and I was being boxed. I was being boxed in, and I was being pushed out and whatever. And then I think we were coming around then with 500 to go, and then I hear my mother then in the corner roaring something at me. I don't know, but it was enough anyways to give me a kick up the arse, and I just swung around the outside, and I pretty much just stole the march on them. I kind of got that 5 meters, and I was just about for next 400 meters, like, I held them off. Like, I think I won by like 2 seconds in the end or something like that. But that was probably one of the best races I ran, like, just the way I handled everything. And then I was able to, like, I trusted my speed in the end. Like, even when I wanted to go earlier, I was still able to trust myself that I was fit enough and my speed was in a good enough place to be able to hammer it out from the bell, really, like. And I think I closed out in like a 61 or 62, which wasn't bad now for myself.
No, definitely not by any means. But you were saying there, obviously, that you went out about 3:12 per K pace, and It was, as you said, it was uncomfortably slow, especially for a race in spikes. But in a sense, with you not getting a proper warm up in, that probably done you the world of good to be able to kind of ease into the race and kind of get your bearings, get the blood flowing a little bit more in your in your legs. Sorry. So it was kind of a
Yeah, 'cause
blessing in disguise, really.
like I was on the start line. I was just like, my plan was anyways to toss it in, but I was like, you just really mind yourself now in
Yeah.
the first 1500 first mile, I suppose, like, because if someone, like, I knew who was in the field. I knew, like, there's no one faster than me in the
Yeah.
field. Like, I had the quickest time in my age, like, and there's a few fellas like a second or two slower than me, but I knew if fellas were going to start running 68s, 69s, 70s even, like, that don't go with them. Like, they're going to come back to you. Just look after yourself over that first 1200 or the mile, loosen out, warm up, and you can really start cranking it up then in the
Yeah.
last K. I did. So yeah, I suppose, yeah, like, usually I try to be in control of everything I do, like, do a proper warm up, eat, drink, everything the same way always, like. So the fact that I got a 10-minute jog and a few strides in before I won All Ireland, like, it's yeah, it's funny, like.
Did you ever consider maybe trying that for any other future races, only doing a bit of foam rolling, a bit of a jog or a bit of strides, or was that, would you say maybe luck was on your side a bit that day?
um I haven't really thought about it, like, it was yeah, I suppose I haven't really got an opportunity to think about it
True,
since that
true,
race.
yeah.
So, like, yeah, like, that was 2019. I only raced like twice last summer. But yeah, no, that's something now I look into now in the future. That I could just potting around now for a bit of a jog and then a few strides, and who knows what I can do
Yeah,
then.
definitely. Because you always see those people on the start of race, track, cross country, road, or anything who are stretching until they're going, literally, and not really giving their muscles time to just relax. And, you know,
Yeah, too
yeah,
tense, like.
yeah, they're always just kind of keeping them, just kind of keep putting pressure on their muscles before the race is even started. So you never know. You might have found something. You might have found something there, and we
Yeah, you're onto something there now, I'd
yeah,
say.
and we could be seeing you on some running magazine in the future talking about, the best warm up you can possibly do to win an All
It's
Ireland.
not warm up. Yeah, best warm up is no warm up.
Man, you never know, you never know. Or maybe even just for you personally, that could be that could be something you could investigate a little bit more. But kind of moving on to something that I wasn't too maybe aware of before we decided to do this podcast, or and something else I'm really excited to talk about with is your steeplechase career. So
Okay.
basically, over last track season, I was doing a bit of steeplechase training myself. I was supposed to run the schools in the schools 1500 meter or 2K, 1500.
Senior is 2K and the inter is
Yeah,
15.
yeah. So I was meant to do the 15 for the schools, for the
Yeah.
steeplechase, and I was doing, on a Sunday, I was kind of, I'd be doing my long run. I'd be kind of doing a bit of my long run steeplechase, and then finishing off the long run, and I was really enjoying
Mm.
it. But obviously, then with COVID and everything, it obviously didn't go ahead, but. For you, like, briefly, we can dive a bit more into it, now in a moment. But why did you decide to pick up the steeplechase? Obviously, it's predominantly run as a 3K event, and from what we've seen, you're quite a solid 3K athlete. Competed at a high level and have some seriously good times and that. So was that a factor into why you wanted to start the steeplechase, or did you want to just do something a little bit different?
Yeah, like, it's something people have been saying to me for years, like, and I've always just kind of brushed it off, like running's hard enough without having these, immovable hurdles in
Yeah,
front of you. But yeah, like, I was, I'm tall and I have a nice stride and I'm kind of loose and flexible, so I suppose I'm kind of suited for it. And I was doing like a treadmill VO2 test up in Dublin, and your man who was doing it with me, he was like, you should really consider doing a steeplechase. Like, you're fit, but, like, you have the build for it as
yeah,
well. And, like, I said it to my coach and we talked about it, and we were like, do you know what? Like, since I have this, for, like, the two reasons were that I was a year young in schools, so I could, so, like, I would have been last year in 2020, so I would have had my first year as a senior, to give it a go, and then I would have had European youths that summer as
yeah,
well, which which I think I could have ran that time. So yeah, that was like the new year. That was like Christmas 2019. We were kind of talking about that, and then I started hurling then for the first time in January 2020, and I kind of caught on to it quickly enough, and I was pretty excited about it. Like I was like, this could be something good here, and then February, March, and then you start hearing about this coronavirus thing, and then it kind of blew up then, and then yeah, and then the youth got cancelled, and then the whole track season got cancelled then. But still, like once a week, I kept hurdling, kept doing my drills, did the odd hurdle session, like doing a few 800s or whatever. And then like the opportunity kind of presented itself at the very end of the summer. We were like, we had national seniors and national juniors, and I was kind of tossing up between like, will I do a 5K or will I do a 3K or will I do a steeplechase? And we kind of we decided on a steeplechase at the end of the summer because since we were kind of looking at European juniors for the coming year, and that's 3K, not 2K. So we were saying, if you can just get that experience, like don't mind the time, don't mind anything like that, just experience what it feels like to do 3 kilometers of 7 water jumps and whatever 28 dry barriers. Like if you can just get that experience under your belt, that'll just give you a bit of a head start on next year, really. So I did the seniors, and I came second actually, and I was behind Rory Chesser. He's like one of my training partners. He won it. Like that was the 7th steeple title, which was crazy. Like, and then a week later, I did the juniors, and I came second in that as well. Yeah, but it was funny, like because before the seniors, I hadn't jumped into water, not once.
Yeah.
Had I jumped into water. I'd only ever jumped into the sandpit up at the track, like, and like I was coming around for the first time, and I was like, oh, that looks different, like to the sandpit I'm used to seeing, and I just run into it and I get over it, like not very gracefully, I'd say, but I got through it anyways, finished second, and I was chuffed that I managed to stay on my feet for the 3K. So then I came back, then I did the juniors then the following week. And James Highland won that actually. But yeah, no, I ran a bit quicker again. I think my water jumps were better because I was kind of attacking. When I cut in off the track onto the water jump lane, I suppose, like I was pretty much sprinting from that cone, and I'll carry as much speed as I can to clear the water. And that helped, like, because I remember at the end of the senior race, head to toe, hair, face, singlet, shorts, spikes, everything was soaked, sticking to me. But then, I was jumping the water a bit better than the juniors, and it was actually just my spikes were wet, so that was great.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was great to see that little bit of progress between the 2 races. Like,
no, to be fair, I have to give it to you there. Obviously you're a much higher standard of steeplechase than me, but just in terms of a confidence thing, I was doing the same. While I was training, we got the big barrier route, and we put out the sand pit, and we were doing it as if it was a water jump. Put one foot on it and try clear the water. It wasn't like the normal jumps where you try not to touch it. You basically try just hurdle it, and that was quite intense, you'd say, in itself. But then going into a race not having done any water jump and coming up to it, and it's definitely not an easy thing to do, would be, you have to have some confidence to do that as well.
Yeah, like that's like, through doing the sessions and even doing the races, like I think like steeplechasing is just like running, but I think more so in steeplechasing, it's 90% mental in your head, like it's all in your head.
Definitely.
Like it's like it's when you're starting off, like you're kind of like, oh, I'm kind of tired, I don't think I'm going to clear this hurdle, but then like you're looking at yourself in the video, and I'm like, I'm absolutely wrecked, and I'm still clearing that hurdle by a good bit, like, so then you can push yourself a bit more, like, and you're gonna be safe, like. And it's the same with the water jump, like, I mean, it's not that hard in theory, but like it's just a thing in your head where you're like, if I put one foot wrong here, I'm going head over heels, face first into the water, and everyone's gonna see
either. So it was
it's not like it's not like it's gonna cushion your fall or anything. Like, it's only like water too deep, like.
When I was, trying out on the track doing a few 400s or 800s with the hurls, I felt like, not that I've made it feel easier, because I feel like with steeplechase in a session or a race, if you go out too hard, it's not like normal running where you can kind of just ease back, because you still have
Oh yeah, God, that's the worst thing you can do. Like
100%.
if you start slowing down a steeplechase, you're gonna hit that
Definitely.
hurdle and you're gonna hit the deck as well.
Because, like, it's not like running as a sin that you can just ease back. You have to, the hurdles don't
Yeah,
get any smaller, so you still have to clear
no,
them.
you have to keep attacking them.
But at
Like,
the same time, I feel like, especially doing just say like a 10 by 400 meter section with the hurdles, it kind of
yeah,
makes the lap feel a little bit shorter, because you're not thinking, right, I need to get from here and then back around. You kind of have something to be focusing on at each time. Would you agree with that, or would you kind of think the complete opposite?
yeah, no, that's spot on. Like, so if you're, if you're doing just say flat normal 400s, like you're just, for the most part, really, you're just thinking about how hard this 400 is.
Yeah,
Like, while if you have the hurdle out, you're just looking that 80 meters ahead of you, like, and you're just looking at the next hurdle, and you're just trying to work on that, and then I suppose the time's gonna take care of themselves. Like, but yeah, no, it definitely, it's something fun as well. Like doing, like, I do 400s and 800s as well,
yeah,
like over hurdles, and it's just fun. Like, you're kind of just tipping around, you're just working on a few different things, like a few different things you have in your brain, like what to do with your arms, where's your head, where's your trail leg, where's your lead leg, where are you taking off, like all that stuff. Like, it kind of takes your mind off the running part and focus you more on not hitting the hurdle.
definitely not. No, definitely. And would you say, in well, not in the near future, whenever races kind of start coming back, and track races in particular, that we can, be seeing you in a few more steeplechase races? Because I'd say, after being told that you have the build for a steeplechaser, and also, winning your first All Ireland and your first ever, steeplechase All Ireland race, that gave you quite a big confidence boost. So, would you say we'll be seeing you in a few more races whenever track comes back?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I think my plan was to do it for schools. Well, plan was to do it for last year, but I think if schools goes ahead this year, I'll probably give it a go
Yeah,
there, um, just to just see if I can win and get that elusive schools gold medal that I've been looking for. But like, definitely, I think down the line, it's, I'd be hoping maybe to get close to that European Junior time this year, and maybe kick on then under 23s World Championships, Olympics. Who knows? Like, it's kind of exciting. You kind of have that confidence that you think, okay, this event is
yeah.
good for me, and I can go after it, and I can really, this could be the kind of a new chapter
Yeah,
almost.
no, no, definitely. And wish you obviously all the best with that. Kind of coming into the last few points here of the episode, you were telling me that with Ennis, and obviously with your skill, you have countless number of team wins. Just, that's quite a nice thing to be able to say. Obviously, skills as well can be quite hard to,
Yeah,
especially as a team. Obviously, individually, you'd be one of the lads up the front of the pack, pushing the pace and whatnot. But having a team in skill can be, quite difficult to consistently win medals, because there's a lot of lads in the race and on your team that are just doing it just to get, free out with skills. So that's quite interesting. So, what within skills, obviously your team in Ennis is really talented, but just in terms of skill, like, why is that you think you are constantly picking up team titles?
well, I think just for myself, I've actually only won one school title, but it's just the way, like, the ages fall, that like one year I'm on my own, like, and then another year I have like the two Caseys and a few other lads coming
Yeah,
up as well. But like, we won. It was on. I was intermediate. It was my second year intermediate, and it was on in Clongowes. And like, it was like that Christmas, we were like, okay, we're gonna win this team title. So we got a few more lads on board. Like, we had me, Dean, Dylan, Luke Griffin, and I think two other lads. Yeah, two other lads, and we just made the group chat, and we're like, lads, we're gonna win this. And I kind of took control of it myself, um, for the most part, really. And I was like keeping on these lads' case, like, lads, keep coming to training, because especially the fifth and sixth guy, because they're absolutely crucial. If the race is tight and you have to go back to count back, like, they're the lads you're
yeah,
relying on. So you need to keep them honest, keep them accountable. So I think that's kind of it was kind of a special feeling then, like having not having a great race myself individually, that like, the Casey's dad came over to me and he was like, lads, like, you beat Malachy's, like, and that was that was a big one for us, beating the Northerners,
Yeah.
like, it was a special feeling then going up on the podium, like, and getting the big trophy, and being with all the lads, like, knowing that, like, we'd worked together as a team, like, and I'd brought these lads through all the rounds, like, and we'd got the job done,
Yeah, definitely.
I was in the schools, like, and then like we've been winning club titles for years, like we've such a strong team, and it's only getting stronger, really, to be honest. We got a few more lads in from other clubs who wanted to join us, and yeah, no, we've a nice group down here, like we're good, it's good group vibes, I suppose,
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, that's absolutely crucial for winning team titles,
Yeah,
like.
definitely. And it's not an easy thing to do. Obviously, we were saying there's a few lads that do, especially within schools, do it just to get out of school. But I feel like once you have a team within schools, and you're getting to like, Munsters or even the All Irelands, it kind of eliminates those people, and you're there with the main runners, and kind of with the big dogs, you could say, even. So
Yeah, like it just fit all the rounds, filter out all the
yeah,
dossers, like.
definitely. So it's definitely
You're
not an
just left
easy
with the
thing to
lads who
do.
really want to be there.
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously that's great to hear. Real quick, this might be maybe a little bit more of a selfish question, but with someone like you, obviously training, or any athlete or runner at all, training is really, really important. But people say it's the smaller things that kind of add up. So in terms of like, diet and everything, would you be quite strict on that, or do you kind of just let your running training and sessions and runs take over?
Yeah, no, like I think, especially in the last since I've started running full time, I think my recovery has, like, it's nearly as important as some sessions and runs, like. But like, diet wise, just because you said it, like, I'm not that strict, but like I've been through enough talks and I've had enough presentations, and I have a few kind of just general principles that I'd follow and try to keep to. Like, I don't have strict diets and meals that I try and have, but like, it's kind of the basic stuff of,
Yeah.
your 3 meals a day, you're having your snacks, you're drinking your water, you're trying to get a nice balance, and you just balance across all the meals, and you don't let yourself get hungry. Really, like, that's kind of a big one for me. Like, always be picking at something, like if it's a few nuts or a bit of fruit or whatever. Like, then what else would I do? Like, I gym twice a week, and I've kind of been doing that consistently for about a year. And I think that's pretty important. That's pretty important as well as you get older. Like, you'd want to be, for your body to be able to withstand an increase in volume or whatever. Like, you need to be robust. Yeah, so I gym twice a week. I do go to stretching and mobility, like, and I think that's helped big time in keeping myself injury free. I do a lot of stretching and rolling and mobility work and all that, so I don't stiffen up, like, so I'm able to handle whatever I'm doing in training. Um, yeah, that's it, really. I can't really think of anything else I do. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. And the one thing I don't know, it's kind of like a little thing that maybe annoys me a little bit, is like, just say you're out with your mates or whatnot, and they're going to the chipper or the Chinese or the shop and getting something. They're like, "Oh, go on, get something," and they're like, "Oh, you burn it off in your runs anyway." And I'm always just like, it's not about burning it off. It's about kind of fueling correctly to be able to then, burn calories and run fast for your races or for your sessions or anything. So, obviously, if you go out, not every week can have a chip or a Chinese, you'll be grand if it's a one-off, kind of thing, as such, maybe. But just, if you,
Oh yeah, I mean, like, I love
oh
sweets and
yeah,
stuff as much as
definitely,
anyone. Like, but like, I'm smart enough now to know, like, if I have a big run in the morning, or if I have a session or a race or whatever, like, I'm gonna keep it clean. Like, I don't want all that stuff in my
definitely,
system.
yeah.
Or like, if lads are going drinking, or if they're going out, like, I won't.
No, yeah, no, that's pretty much the same. Me, you kind of, as it's kind of, cheesy or whatever, but runs kind of like a lifestyle as such, where you kind of think,
Yeah, no, like, my friends just don't
yeah,
understand it at
yeah,
all. They're like, "Oh, come on, like, well, you're hardly running again." I was like, kind of have to, like, but like, like, it's not I don't think it's a chore. Like,
yeah,
it's, I enjoy it so much, particularly in the last year. Like, I've really grown to appreciate it more as kind of a way of life, like, rather than just my form of competition. Like, it's become, yeah, no, like especially these days, like when you're cooped up inside and you're on the laptop all day looking at rubbish from school, like, and then you get out to run and then you can just forget about it then for the
Definitely.
hour and a half. Like you know, I'm very lucky to be able to do
No,
it. Like,
yeah, 100%. You're always kind of, thinking about it, whatever comes up outside running. You're always kind of thinking, will this affect my run tomorrow, my session tomorrow, my session next week, or whatnot. So it's always kind of there in the back of your head whenever you're ever really doing anything, which obviously is a good thing to a certain extent. Obviously, there's limitations and exceptions with everything, really.
yeah, I mean, like there's definitely a balance to be got. Like you can't be completely absorbed into athlete
Yeah,
mindset every single day of the year. Like you need to have times where you just have a rubbish meal, like just out of pure like
yeah,
craving, you know,
definitely.
like you know, there's times you might stay up late and watch something, or you might go out, like, and then, but that's fine, like, but you don't want to make a habit of it, like, you need to have time for yourself and then time for training and being serious
Yeah,
about it, like.
100%. No, that's really good to hear from someone of your kind of caliber or standards, you could say. To that balance is important, and that you don't need to be fully in that maybe professional mindset even, or just maybe
Yeah, I mean, especially at a young age, like, I don't think it's healthy to be like 100%
consumed of it. Maybe,
absolutely
yeah,
strict, living like a monk. Like
definitely.
it's not
No,
sustainable. But at the same time, you need to get into good habits, and that's what makes, future good runners, like.
yeah, that's it exactly. And before that, there you were mentioning, with the NS Track Club, that up in the club, there's always those good vibes, and it kind of helps you get up, even though maybe the cold winter nights, or you're gonna have a tough session. Does having the team around you and the good vibes always helps a lot within the sessions. But real quick, obviously now with level 5 lockdowns and everything, what's kind of the story with up there in Ennis? What's the story maybe with team sessions, and are you kind of doing a lot of training on your own? Like, what's the story?
Yeah, like these days, like we'll do one, maybe two sessions a week, Wednesday and Saturday. Like I do my runs on my own these days. Just, I like, yeah, as much as I don't like running on my own, like you gotta do it
Yeah,
now, especially these times. But on Wednesdays and Saturdays, we'd go into pods of like one or two others, of like similar abilities. So like I'd be with maybe Dean and Dylan most of
yeah,
the time. Um, yeah, we do a bit of it, like we'd warm up separately from everyone else and do our drills separately from everyone else. But like I do my runs on my own now. Um, so like I just throw on an old podcast or a bit of music and then just head
yeah.
off, like, and it's grand. But yeah, like it's yeah, it's hard now to be training as a group. Like it's funny, like we always give out about it because there's a big increase in people getting out running and walking now, and like they're all looking at
Yeah,
you. They're like, "Oh, you should be like." None of them really give out, like, but they'd be looking at you and they'd be like, "Oh, here are you, like, training."
yeah, yeah,
The track we use is a public track. I'm gonna start ranting now, like, but it's just flooded with young kids on
yeah.
bikes and old people and everything, like, and it just grinds my gears so much,
Nah,
like.
but when you think about, like, they wouldn't be doing it on a Gaelic pitch. Like, if you're in a public park, just say, and there's lads at a Gaelic goal or a soccer goal or whatever, people wouldn't really be walking in front of them. So it's kind of the same on a track.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like there's signs. Yeah, like I'm giving out now,
No,
but
go
there's
ahead, man.
signs on the track. There's signs on the track saying there's no footballs, there's no
Yeah,
bikes, no scooters, no pushchairs or anything, like. It's a running or walking
yeah,
track, really, like.
exactly.
But still, like, all these mammies coming in with their darlings now scooting around in
Yeah,
lane
yeah,
one
yeah,
while I'm trying
exactly.
to run fast, like.
It's yeah, no, it's definitely annoying. Like it, but why a track? Like what? Like I don't get what the
Oh,
benefit of
stop!
that is.
I don't get the
I
obsession,
don't.
like I don't like. I don't mind doing the odd session on it, but like I'm not like drawn to the track, like it. But they're always
Yeah, I
up, like,
know.
oh my.
It's just I don't know. Maybe if they do it on purpose or whatnot, but it's just a little bit stupid, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then like we can't really say anything to them then because like technically we shouldn't be training as a group, but sure,
Yeah, but like
what's
you,
saying?
you say that you can't really be saying anything, but just a bit like decency from other people to
Yeah,
recognize.
like it's just a bit of it should just be a bit of
Yeah,
etiquette,
exactly.
like, on the track, that like, come on, like, lane one, lane two, every
Yeah,
other lane use them way,
exactly.
like, but
Or if you
sure.
see someone running maybe don't go on the track. It's just like being nice and common sense, really, as well.
Yeah, it's just a bit of general
Yeah, exactly,
decency, like.
exactly.
Yeah,
Real quick before we wrap up this episode of the podcast, I know you were saying there that you want to do a little bit more, steeplechase. You want to pick up that elusive school gold medal. These, hopefully anyway, short-term goals. So short-term, long-term goals. What we talking here. Obviously, you have the Olympics, the World Championships representing Ireland, but just in general, what's something you'd like to achieve in long term and short term?
yeah. Like I mean, like every time, at the start of every year, we always just go like our aim is always keep running long term. Like we're not putting all our eggs into one basket and going like we're going after this goal in 6 months' time. Like it's always been, we'll make that European Juniors in a few years' time, like, or we'll under 23s in 5 years' time, or so. Like obviously we want to make them championships in the meantime, but at the end of the day, like it's the people who are still competing when you're senior, when you're late 20s, 30s, like. So obviously, like, World Championships, European Championships, Olympics, like, they're always on your minds, like. But I think, European Juniors, I suppose the summer would be a nice one to have a crack at. Sure, we'll see. We'll let COVID dictate that. But I'll keep putting in the work, and hopefully I'll be fit and healthy now come July to run a few times.
Fingers crossed. And obviously, if organised races aren't going ahead, you can still. I know maybe it's not the same. I know obviously from experience, hop in a few time trials or whatever. So hopefully, within the steeplechase and the 3K and whatnot, we can see a few big PBs if everyone's fit and healthy in a few different in a few different time trials. So fingers crossed, some more races start coming our way very soon for track, and with those goals, obviously I wish you all the best with that, and obviously in long term as well for the for the World Championships and the Europeans and the Olympics and all that. Hopefully we'll be seeing you on the starting line of one of those very soon.
Quickly now, just a quick shout out to all the boys down in the track, Liam Naughton, Rory Chesser, Dean, Dylan Casey, Niall Murphy, Kelvin, all the lads.
Legends.
So I said I'd give him a shout out.
No, that's Liam. I had Liam on the on the podcast. So I should actually try to get the Cases on, see if they'd be up for that. Haven't actually spoken to them much at all, so we'll have to see there with that. I don't know what the story is, but no, it's a serious thing.
I don't think you get an hour out of them, to be honest.
Maybe not. I might. We'll have to wait and see. But in terms of this episode, it was a really great one, and I appreciate you taking time coming on.
Thanks for having me on.
No problem at all. Hopefully, maybe you never know, in the future we'd have you back on talking about more about maybe steeplechase, your skill title win, or you never know the Olympics or World Championships very soon. For everyone listening or watching at home, I appreciate you all, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.